What if the Death Star destroyed Yavin 4 before it was destroyed? The Rebel fleet scrambles to defend Yavin 4 as the Death Star looms in orbit. Leia, Mon Mothma, and General Dodonna coordinate the defense from the base's command center. Fighter pilots, including Luke Skywalker and Wedge Antilles, engage in desperate dogfights against the TIE fighters, buying time for the base to evacuate. Luke weaves through the chaos in his X-Wing, his focus unwavering as he leads the attack run on the Death Star trench. Through his calms, Leia's voice gives him the strength to push forward. "Stay on target, Luke," she urges, her voice tinged with desperation. The Death Star's superlaser charges, its ominous green glow spreading across space. The Rebels' evacuation falters as TIE fighters destroy escaping transports. Luke's targeting computer lines up with the exhaust port, but before he can fire, the superlaser discharges. A blinding green beam obliterates Yavin 4, the explosion consuming the planet and everyone on it, including Leia. Luke's heart shatters as the voices of his friends are silenced. In the midst of his anguish, Obi-Wan's disembodied voice urges him, "Luke, trust the Force." Luke deactivates his targeting computer, focusing inward. Using the Force, he fires the torpedo. It hits its mark, and the Death Star erupts in flames. The explosion shakes the galaxy, but Luke feels no triumph, only grief. With the Rebel leadership annihilated, Luke, Han, and Chewbacca flee to Tatooine to regroup. Han is preoccupied with paying off Jabba the Hutt, and Luke is consumed by despair. "Kid, you did what you could," Han says, trying to console him as they land the Falcon. Luke barely responds. "She's gone, Han. They're all gone. What's left to fight for?" Han sighs but says nothing more. Luke isolates himself, wandering the sands near the Lars homestead ruins. He gazes at the twin suns, longing for guidance. As Luke meditates in the desert, a shadow moves silently behind him. It's Boba Fett, rifle aimed with precision. A tranquilizer dart pierces Luke's neck before he senses the danger. Drowsiness overtakes him, and he collapses. When he awakens, he is bound and aboard Slave One, staring into Fett's cold, expressionless helmet. "Vader wants you alive," Fett says, his tone devoid of emotion. "Be grateful for that." Luke struggles against his restraints. "Why? What does he want with me?" Fett's silence is unnerving. Slave One streaks through hyperspace, heading toward the Imperial fleet. Luke is brought before Darth Vader aboard the Executor. The Dark Lord stands tall, his presence suffocating. "You are strong with the Force, Skywalker," Vader says, his mechanical voice echoing in the chamber. "Stronger than I anticipated." Luke glares at him. "You killed my friends. You destroyed everything." Vader's tone remains calm. "The Emperor ordered their deaths. He fears your potential, as he once feared mine." Luke's anger flares, but Vader senses his confusion. "You and I are connected, Luke. Search your feelings. You know this to be true." Luke's defiance wanes as doubt seeps in. Vader takes Luke to a secluded facility on Mustafar, the lava planet symbolic of Vader's rebirth. Training begins with brutal intensity. Vader pushes Luke physically and mentally, teaching him to channel his anger and pain into strength. "Your attachments make you weak," Vader says as they spar with lightsabers. "Let go of them, and you will become unstoppable." Luke resists at first, clinging to memories of Leia and his friends, but the constant drills and harsh lessons wear him down. Vader shows Luke how to manipulate the Force in ways Obi-Wan never taught. Force choke, telekinetic crushing, and deflection of blaster fire. One day, during meditation, Luke questions Vader. "Why train me? Why not just kill me?" Vader's voice lowers. You are my son, Luke. Together, we can overthrow the Emperor and bring order to the galaxy. The revelation shakes Luke, but a part of him begins to believe Vader's words. On Mustafar, Luke kneels before Vader in a dimly lit chamber. The air is heavy with the hum of machinery and the glow of molten lava outside the windows. Vader stands over Luke, his presence as imposing as ever. "You have grown powerful, my son," Vader intones, "but you still cling to the weaknesses of your former self. Attachments. They will betray you." Luke's head lifts, his expression shadowed. "I've let go of the rebels, of Leia. There's nothing left." Vader's tone darkens. "You lie to yourself. There are two who still anchor you to the past. Han Solo and the Wookiee. Their survival weakens you. They must be eliminated." Luke's jaw tightens. "Han and Chewie saved me when no one else would. They're no threat to us." "They are a threat to you," Vader retorts. "Your loyalty must lie with me, and me alone. If you cannot destroy them, you cannot embrace the full power of the dark side. This is your final trial, Luke." Luke hesitates, the conflict visible in his expression. Vader senses it and presses further. "They are fugitives. Their deaths will serve the Empire and solidify your place at my side." Luke closes his eyes, his voice trembling with suppressed emotion. "Where are they?" Vader provides Luke with the location of Han and Chewbacca, the smuggler's moon of Nar Shaddaa. Luke boards a sleek, black Imperial shuttle, now outfitted with the dark regalia of Vader's apprentice. Alone, he stares into hyperspace, his thoughts clouded by memories of laughter aboard the Millennium Falcon and the camaraderie they once shared. Upon landing on the crowded, neon-lit streets of Nar Shaddaa, Luke pulls his hood over his face, masking his identity. The planet teems with criminals and bounty hunters, but none dare approach the imposing figure cloaked in black. Using the Force, Luke senses Han and Chewie's presence in a run-down cantina. Inside, the air is thick with smoke and the sound of boisterous patrons. At a corner table, Han leans back, talking animatedly with Chewbacca. They appear relaxed, unaware of the shadow closing in. Luke pauses at the entrance, his hand gripping the hilt of his lightsaber beneath his cloak. Luke approaches their table, his presence causing the noise in the cantina to dim as patrons take notice. Han's eyes widen as he recognizes him. "Luke," Han says, standing cautiously. "Kid, what are you doing here?" Chewbacca growls a low, wary greeting, sensing something is wrong. Luke pulls back his hood, revealing his face. His expression is cold, his eyes tinged with the yellow hue of the dark side. "I've come to end this," Luke says, his voice devoid of emotion. Han's face twists in confusion. "End what? What's gotten into you?" Luke ignites his crimson lightsaber. The room erupts into chaos as patrons scramble to escape. "Vader sent me to kill you," Luke says, stepping forward. "You're a liability." Han stares at him in disbelief. "You can't be serious, kid. We're your friends." Chewbacca roars and lunges at Luke, but with a flick of his wrist, Luke uses the Force to slam the Wookiee into the wall. Han draws his blaster and fires, but Luke deflects the bolts effortlessly, advancing step by step. "Don't make this harder than it has to be," Luke says, his voice tinged with regret. Han lowers his blaster, his expression a mixture of anger and sadness. "You don't have to do this, Luke. We're the only family you've got left." Luke hesitates for a fraction of a second, memories of their adventures flashing through his mind. But Vader's voice echoes in his head. "Do it, my son. Complete your journey." With a pained expression, Luke thrusts his lightsaber forward. Han collapses to the ground, his eyes wide with shock and betrayal. Chewbacca roars in anguish and charges again, but Luke counters swiftly, his blade slicing through the Wookiee. As their lifeless bodies fall to the floor, Luke extinguishes his lightsaber. He stares at the scene, his face blank but his soul in turmoil. Luke returns to the shuttle, his hands trembling as he cleans the blood from his lightsaber. The weight of his actions bears down on him, but he suppresses his emotions, burying them beneath layers of anger and purpose. When he arrives back on Mustafar, Vader greets him in the chamber. "It is done," Luke says, his voice hollow. Vader nods approvingly. "You have taken your final step. You are no longer bound by weakness." Luke's eyes burn with anger. What's next? Before Vader can answer, a transmission from the Emperor interrupts. Palpatine's hologram materializes, his visage twisted with malice. "Lord Vader, young Skywalker, you are both summoned to Coruscant. The time has come for the boy's true test." Vader's fists clench, but he bows. "As you command, my master." Luke stares at the hologram, his hatred for the Emperor growing. Luke and Vader arrive at the Emperor's throne room on Coruscant. The opulent chamber is vast, adorned with symbols of the Empire's dominance. Palpatine greets them with a sinister grin. "Lord Vader, you've done well." He has grown strong in the dark side. Luke's face is stoic, but the Emperor's presence unnerves him. "But there can only be one apprentice," Palpatine continues. "You must prove your loyalty, young Skywalker." He gestures toward Vader. "Strike him down, and take your rightful place at my side." Luke hesitates, looking at Vader. The Dark Lord remains silent, but his grip on his lightsaber tightens. The throne room on Coruscant is an immense, cold expanse of shadow and light. The high windows frame a chaotic skyline of lightning storms and towering spires. Palpatine stands atop his elevated throne, his malevolent grin illuminated by the flickering arcs of electricity dancing between his fingertips. Below him, Vader and Luke ignite their lightsabers, their crimson and orange blades humming in harmony and defiance. Palpatine's laughter echoes, chilling and mocking. At last, the moment of truth. Apprentice against apprentice. Father against son. Only the strongest shall remain at my side. Luke glares at the Emperor, his grip tightening on his lightsaber. Vader's mechanical breathing fills the room, steady and ominous. "You have manipulated us long enough," Luke growls. "Then prove yourself, boy," Palpatine hisses, gesturing toward Vader. "Strike him down. Fulfill your destiny." Vader raises his blade, his imposing form stepping forward. "Do not hold back, Luke. Show me the strength I have taught you." Luke hesitates, his mind a battlefield of conflict. Then, with a cry fueled by pain and anger, he charges. Their lightsabers clash, sparks flying as orange and red blades collide in an explosive duel. Vader's movements are calculated, his strikes powerful but controlled. Luke's attacks, fueled by raw emotion, are relentless and unpredictable. The room reverberates with the sound of their battle, each strike a reflection of their inner turmoil. "You're stronger than this, Luke," Vader says, his voice mechanical yet tinged with something almost human. Luke presses harder, his blade driving Vader back. "You wanted me to embrace my power. Now you'll face it." Palpatine watches from above, his glee palpable. "Yes. Feed on your anger, young Skywalker. Let it consume you." Luke sees an opening, a chance to strike Vader down. He raises his lightsaber, the moment stretching into eternity. But he hesitates, his breathing ragged. Memories of Han, Leia, and Chewbacca flash through his mind. Palpatine snarls, his voice cutting through the haze. Weakness. Finish him, or you will never be worthy of the dark side. Instead of delivering the killing blow to his father, Luke spins on his heel, directing his blade toward the Emperor. The orange saber hums as it slices through the air, aiming for the Sith Lord. Palpatine reacts with blistering speed, extending his hands and unleashing a torrent of Force lightning. The blue energy crackles as it collides with Luke's lightsaber, illuminating the room in a blinding flash. You dare defy me? Palpatine roars, his voice filled with rage and disbelief. Luke staggers under the sheer power of the attack, his lightsaber struggling to absorb the unrelenting storm of lightning. Vader steps forward, his red blade swinging toward the Emperor. Enough, he bellows, intercepting the energy with his saber. Palpatine turns his attention to Vader, the Force lightning now directed at him. Vader absorbs the attack, sparks cascading off his armor as he advances. The battle descends into chaos, a whirlwind of lightsaber strikes and Force powers. Vader and Luke fight as one, their movements almost instinctual as they coordinate their attacks. Palpatine's mastery of the dark side is overwhelming. Waves of energy ripple through the room, shattering the marble floor and sending debris flying. Luke leaps high, his saber arcing downward toward Palpatine, but the Sith Lord counters with a blast of the Force, slamming Luke into a pillar. Vader seizes the opening, using his immense strength to hurl a chunk of debris at the Emperor. Palpatine deflects it with ease, laughing maniacally. You cannot defeat me. The dark side is eternal. Luke recovers and charges again, his blade clashing with Palpatine's crackling energy. You've ruled through fear and pain long enough. Their combined efforts begin to wear the Emperor down. His movements grow more frantic, his face twisted in fury. Palpatine summons a final, devastating surge of lightning, the energy engulfing the room in blinding light. Vader steps forward, his armor smoking and sparking as he absorbs the brunt of the attack. Your reign ends now. Vader growls, his voice straining under the immense power. With a burst of strength, Vader lunges at Palpatine, gripping him with his mechanical hand. The Emperor's lightning courses through Vader's body, but he holds on, refusing to let go. Luke, Vader shouts. Seizing the moment, Luke charges forward, his lightsaber piercing Palpatine's chest. The Emperor's scream is deafening, his body convulsing as the dark energy consumes him. The room trembles violently as Palpatine's body disintegrates in a blinding explosion of light and shadow. The storm outside grows silent, and the oppressive darkness lifts. As the dust settles, Vader collapses to his knees, his mechanical breathing labored and uneven. Luke rushes to his side, kneeling beside him. You have done well, my son, Vader says, his voice weak but resolute. The galaxy is ours. Luke's eyes are filled with a mix of triumph and sorrow. What now? Vader's gaze meets his helmet tilted slightly as though in thought. We rebuild, stronger, together. Luke rises slowly, his expression cold and determined. He turns to face the throne, now empty, and ascends the steps. The galaxy trembles under the shadow of a new empire ruled by the Sith, father and son. The throne room grows silent, the weight of their victory and the dark future ahead palpable. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one.